Hey guys, this is my Glock 19X Gen 5. It is going to be the backdrop for this video because what we are talking about today is the Model V switch debacle. I'm going to state up front a few things. I'm not an industry insider, so I don't have any special insight outside of what I'm able to observe and what I think is going to happen based off those observations. I am not endorsing doing anything illegal. I have my own personal thoughts about full auto weapons. They do not reflect anything that I do or endorse. So here's what I'm going to do in this video. I'm going to sum up what a switch is, what the Model V switch conversion kind of is and does, and what it means. I'm going to sum up the legal stuff that I'm aware of and why companies have been able to force Glock into doing these things. And then I'm going to talk about what I think is going to happen based off of the stuff that has already occurred. So we're going to start off with what a switch is. So a switch is a device, goes on the back of the gun, and it turns a semi-auto Glock into a semi-auto switch over to a full auto, and you can switch back and forth between semi and full auto. So the device gets installed, and now you have a machine gun, according to the ATF. So what does this mean? It means that you are breaking the law if you own it because it is a post-date manufactured machine gun. So there's a date, I believe it's 1986. I don't know off the top of my head. I probably should have looked it up before the video. But you can apply for a tax stamp to own a full auto. It is not illegal in the United States to own a full auto. You just have to have a tax stamp that says you can do it, and the gun has to be manufactured before that date, that cutoff date for the NFA. And what ends up happening is that when you install a switch onto a Glock, you have a new manufactured firearm that was made, again, if you did it today, in 2025, which is after the cutoff date. So you cannot legally get one that way. What you can do, as far as I know, is there is a tax stamp for gun manufacturing. So you can become a gun manufacturer under the NFA that allows you to own and manufacture full auto devices. And this is why companies are allowed to do this kind of thing, because they get contracts and they get the approval to build full autos for the military. And they are technically just citizens because of Citizen United. So what ends up happening is they can manufacture and own firearms for sale for the government, and then you can apply for those kind of things as well for your own personal sale manufacturing business. So if you're somebody, say like Brendan Herrera, who owns the AK factory, he's the AK guy, he can legally own full auto firearms because he manufactures full auto firearms. Now, the legality of who he can sell to and what it's used for, that's a whole other story. But in theory, he could own a switch, as far as I know. So that is what is going on when you see YouTubers shooting these things on video. In theory, they legally own these things. Now, there's obviously people breaking the law that are kind of dumb and upload the videos of them breaking the law. But I would not recommend this. That is a federal crime. You could lose your gun rights. You could spend a lot of time in jail, owe a lot of money to the federal government. Not a good idea. So I do not endorse doing this. I don't even want to walk you through the process of how you would go and legally own these because I don't want to be wrong. I don't want to have anybody jumping down my neck about this. So that's what's going on with the switch. Now, my understanding, as far as being able to sue a gun manufacturer for someone else committing a crime with your firearm. So back in the day, there was a federal immunity to firearms manufacturers that prevented people from suing companies just because their gun was used in a crime. And that, as far as I know, is a federal law. What is going on here is some states have created laws within their state to bypass that immunity and allow them, as long as the lawsuit occurs in that state, they can sue gun manufacturers for illegal activities committed with their firearm. So I think that's what's happening. California is one of these states, and they are trying to get Glock sued for the manufacture of a readily convertible fully automatic firearm, being the Glock, with a cruciform trigger and the removable backplate. Glock decided that they would just try to get out of this by discontinuing their entire line, creating the Model V, which supposedly is not readily convertible. And they have failed in doing so because it only took about 48 hours for somebody to find a way to put the old switches onto the new Model V Glocks. My understanding about this is that not only have they done it, but they did it in a way where now it's not a semi-auto that can be switched to fully auto and vice versa. It's stuck in fully auto mode. So it's technically more dangerous according to this state. So what does this mean? I think it means a few things. I'm going to go through this now. So the first thing that I think it means is that Glock lost a bunch of money. They had to design a new firearm. They had to pay designers to design a new firearm, probably big chunk of money. They had to manufacture new firearms. So they had to convert all of their machines that manufactured their old generations into a new firearm production line. That costs money. I don't know how much money that costs. I would assume it's a significant amount. And then they had to withdraw all of their firearms from stores. I don't think this is a big portion of the money that it costs, because I think what happened when they announced that they were discontinuing these firearms is people rushed out and bought guns. So this is one of them. I rushed out and bought a 19X. I'm sure other people did the same. I know a buddy of mine bought a 47, I believe. And so we have a situation where they had a big spike in gun sales, and they probably made money off that. But that's a small spike that happens over a short period of time, and it pales in comparison to the amount that they would have made had they continued selling the Gen 5s that they had for, say, 2 or 3 years more. And they could have done this endlessly. They could have just manufactured Gen 5s until the end of time, or until they made the Gen 6. But instead, they had to rush out the Model V. And so now they're manufacturing the Model V, and it is readily convertible, or appears to be convertible, to a switch, which makes it a full auto. So did they even manage what they were trying to do? Probably not. I believe that California is still going to be just as upset, and the gun control agencies are going to be just as upset also. So is this a good thing or a bad thing for Glock? It's probably a bad thing for Glock. They probably spent a bunch of money. Is it a good or a bad thing for the consumer? I think that this could be, in the long run, a good thing for the consumer, because what will happen is other gun companies can look at this and think, well, Glock acquiesced to these demands. They backed down. They tried to do exactly what you wanted before there was a lawsuit, and it didn't work out for them. They ended up wasting a bunch of money, and they still are getting in trouble from the state, and that will be a good indicator for gun companies to fight this kind of stuff instead of acquiesce to it. So I hope that's the case. I think Ruger is currently doing that with the Ruger RXM. My understanding is that every town sent them a cease and desist letter saying that there would be ramifications if they did not stop manufacturing and selling the RXM. And Ruger, I believe, said something along the lines of, we're going to manufacture more, actually. We're going to up the manufacturing line. So that would be a net positive in the long run. Okay, I put out another video about this a while ago, and one of the comments that I saw on it, I know I don't get a ton of comments, but one of the comments that I saw was something along the lines of, I think that that's a wrong assessment because there aren't going to be enough Model Vs for there to be a demand of new switches being designed by Temu manufacturers or something like that. I don't know where these things are sold. I don't know if Temu is where they're sold. I would assume something along the lines of, but let's say you're looking at a supply and demand curve and you go, well, there's not enough demand out there for these things. So to manufacture this, would be extremely costly, and I stand to lose money if not enough people want to buy these in the first place. And the people that are likely to buy Model V are people that are probably law-abiding citizens anyways, because they're being sold as unswitchable or unconvertible. So those people wouldn't have high demand for them anyways. But if they're the only Glocks being sold, what'll happen is, because Glock is a manufacturing, and they're probably one of the leading experts in mass manufacturing, then Glock's Model Vs will become the commonplace item on the market, and eventually the people that are willing to do illegal things are going to have that firearm as their main firearm, and the demand will be there. So you have what's called first mover advantage. If somebody wants to illegally produce this thing, they need to invent it first. So being the first mover, the person who invents this thing and has it ready to go for the people who want to commit these crimes, there's going to be enough incentive there that I think it'll happen. I think there will also be people that are willing to accept a small fee to convert the old switches into this switch that fits on the Model V. And I think all of these are traps, by the way. I don't endorse doing illegal activity. If you're one of the people that thinks that you'll get away with it, you do you. But what I think happens is the ATF honeypots these things, kind of, and if you buy, then your name goes on a list, and eventually you get investigated and found out. So if you are one of these people that wants to commit crimes and you're willing to risk that, be aware. I think that's what will happen to you. So here we are. We're at this crossroads now where we don't really know what's going to happen to Glock and their Model V. It's not even November 30th yet, so it's not even really available to the public for us to buy. I know people have them. There's people that are reviewing them right now and have advanced or pre-advanced copies. So I guess what I want to know is, what do you think is going to happen regarding Glock and these lawsuits in California? What is your opinion on it? What do you think about my opinion? I am pretty sure that Glock lost money. That's opinion number one. And I'm hopeful, but also not naively hopeful, that other companies like Ruger will stand up to this kind of stuff, seeing what happened to Glock. So those are my two main opinions on it. And I'd love to hear what you guys think about it. So drop a comment, and thanks for watching.